Lacey did not decompose. She rotted in her own body, in that hole, in that sewer, in the couch.
Hi everyone, you may call me Elena. I like true crime, I like chismisan. Welcome to True Crime Chismisan, Merienda Files. So ano ba itong Merienda Files? Naisip ko, I would create these shorter videos para sa mga cases na for one reason or another, hindi ko pwedeng i-deep dive. Let's say for example, mga cases na still ongoing, mga cases na sealed yung court documents, or yung mga cases na sobrang karumal-dumal lang, na parang sobrang bigat sa damdamin ko na ay hindi ko siya kayang i-deep dive kasi baka bangungutin ako. Merienda Files kasi nga dahil short lang siya, tamang-tama lang na i-consume nyo yung content while you're having merienda or coffee in the afternoon. Today's case is about Lacey Fletcher. This case ticks the last two reasons kung bakit ginawa ko tong Merienda Files. Sealed yung court documents dahil sobrang distressing ng details of the case, and for the same reason, takot din akong i-research siya. Grabe yung dinanas ni Lacey sa kamay ng mga magulang niya. Hindi ko ma-imagine na merong mga magulang na kayang maatim yung level of neglect dito sa case na to na ginawa nila sa anak nila na may kapansanan na dependent on them. Ang kwentong ito ay naglalaman ng mga sensitibong tema tulad ng severe medical neglect, extreme physical trauma, mental health crisis at pagkamatay. Mabigat ang mga detalyeng tatalakayin. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. So, umpisahan natin yung story today with the parents, Clay and Sheila Fletcher. Nakatira sila sa Slaughter, Louisiana. Diba, pangalan pa lang ng place, parang alam mo na kagad na may hindi magandang mangyayari dito. Slaughter, Louisiana is a very small town. Noong 2020 census nila, 1,025 lang yung population nila. According pa sa mga reports, magkakalayo talaga yung mga bahay kasi nga konti lang sila doon. And dun sa mismong malapit na area around sa bahay ng mga Fletchers, parang 12 lang sila na magkakapit-bahay doon. Si Sheila is a municipal court clerk and also she served as an alderman. Yung alderman, parang konsehal yung equivalent niya sa Philippines, so parang kilala talaga siya dun sa town. Tapos si Clay naman, he works at an educational non-profit organization. Both of them are active in their local church. In November 25, 1985, their daughter, Lacey Ellen Fletcher, was born. In the beginning, Lacey was going to school. We saw photos of her na naka-school uniform, kasama yung mga classmates niya, ganyan. Pero nung grade 9 daw siya, the parents withdrew her para i-homeschool. Sabi ni Clay and Sheila, kaya nila withdraw si Lacey from school is dahil she was being bullied and also nahihirapan siya mag-socialize. Tapos nito, na-diagnose si Lacey with autism and severe anxiety. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung extent or kung ano yung confirmed na diagnosis kasi parang wala akong nakita na official medical record. During her teenage years, nag-continue mag-decline yung mental health niya. Dumating sa point na ayaw na ni Lacey lumabas ng bahay nila or even lumabas ng room where she's in. Sabi ng mga kapitbahay, last time daw na nakita nila si Lacey was around mid-2000s. So parang mga 20 or 21 years old na dapat si Lacey at the time. Kapag daw tinatanong nila yung mag-asawa, parang sasabihin lang sa kanila is parang okay lang siya, ganyan. Tapos they would change the subject. Inassume na lang ng mga kapitbahay na baka siguro lumipat na or nag-asawa or whatever si Lacey kaya hindi na nila nakikita. Around 2010 daw, nag-umpisa na totally hindi lumabas ng bahay si Lacey. And it was also around that time na nag-umpisa siyang magstay sa couch nila in the living room. Sabi ni Sheila, dadalan daw nila ng pagkain and tubig si Lacey dun sa living room. Tapos, ayaw na din niyang pumunta sa banyo. So, binibigyan daw nila ng towel si Lacey para dun siya mag-poop and pee and para mas madali nilang malinis. Pero over time, parang hindi na din daw makagalaw si Lacey. So, dun niya na din ginagawa yung business niya in the couch. Meron pa silang isang neighbor for 12 years na nagsabi sa isang interview na hindi daw nila alam na may anak yung mag-asawa and yung anak is living in the house. Unfortunately, hindi natin alam kung ano yung totoong state ng physical and mental health ni Lacey at this point kasi for the last 20 years, walang kahit anong claim sa insurance nila for medical attention for Lacey. Ibig sabihin nito, kahit gano'n na yung state niya na hindi siya lumalabas, hindi siya makagalaw hanggang sa doon na siya nagpo-poop and pee sa kung saan siya nakaupo, never siyang dinala ng family niya sa hospital to seek medical help. So punta na tayo ngayon sa January 3, 2022. Sheila Fletcher calls 911. Kakauwi lang nila nito galing sa holidays for New Year, so parang nag-travel sila somewhere, iniwan nila si Lacey mag-isa sa bahay. So tumawag siya sa 911 kasi sabi niya unresponsive daw si Lacey. Pagdating ng mga first responders dun sa bahay, nakita nila si Lacey obviously dead, tapos sobrang baho daw dun sa bahay, as in amoy poso negro daw, amoy septic tank, and it smelled like death. Sabi nila, there were clear signs of neglect. Partially clothed lang daw yung katawan ni Lacey, tapos sobrang liit niya. Nung winay nila yung body, parang 43 kilos lang siya, and at this point, 36 years old na si Lacey, so sobrang liit na talaga nung na-recover nila na katawan. Tapos one other thing, nakalimutan pa ni Sheila kung ilang taon na talaga si Lacey. Sinabi niya 31 years old lang daw si Lacey, when in reality, 36 na siya. Na-determine nila that Lacey had been dead for 1 to 2 days bago pa nag-call ng 911 si Sheila. Dahil dun sa state in which the body was found, kailangan nilang mag-conduct ng autopsy. Sobrang gruesome nung details na ikukwento ko next, so kung kailangan nyo mag-skip, please do so. Hindi ako magagalit kahit mabawasan yung watch hours ko. Ang exact words na ginamit nila sa report is that her body was fused to the couch. As in literal na nakadikit na yung balat niya dun sa leather ng couch. Yung katawan niya daw ang daming bed sores or ulcers. Alam niyo yung mga sugat ng mga tao na immobile? Like parang yung sa mga pressure points kung saan sila laging nakadikit sa kama or sa upuan. Parang nagiging parang butas, ganyan. So ang dami niyang ganun with different levels of healing. Tapos meron daw mga iba na sobrang lala. Kita na hanggang yung buto niya. Pero hindi pa yan yung pinakamalala. Sabi pa nila, yung mga bed sores daw na sugat niya, meron ng maggots. So literal na inuuod na siya doon habang buhay pa siya. Doon daw sa loob ng sugat niya hanggang sa buto, merong mga maggots. Tapos doon din sa parang pelvis area niya, meron na ding mga maggots. Sabi pa nila, doon daw sa buhok niya din, parang nabubuhay na din yung mga uod doon sa hair niya. Apart from the maggots, yung hair niya din daw had poop in it. Tapos, matted na siya. Alam niyo yun sa mga dogs na hindi pinapag-groom, na dikit-dikit na yung buhok, ganun na. Napakadami pa daw parang mga insekto na nandun sa katawan niya. Like, ang dami niyang mga insect bites. Pero sabi nila, nangyari daw lahat to nung buhay pa si Lacey. Kasi, kung nangyari daw yung mga maggots nung patay na siya, dapat daw merong mga uod sa eyes, ears, and mouth niya. Kasi yun yung parang unang compose. Pero dahil wala dun sa mga area na yun, dun lang sa mga sugat niya, ibig sabihin daw nun, nung buhay pa siya, may maggots na sa katawan niya and pinapapak na siya ng mga insects. Ito pa yung isa sa pinaka malala and nakakalungkot. Nung tinignan nila yung contents of her stomach, nakita nila na merong mga foam nung couch and hair and also fecal matter. Ibig sabihin, sobrang gutom na gutom siya. Tinatry niyang kainin yung sofa and also yung poop niya and her hair. Ang official cause of death ni Lacey was sepsis, pero she suffered starvation and also yung mga bone infection. Yung bone infection from her wounds was what ultimately led to the sepsis. And on top of all that, may COVID din siya. So for sure, nagka-COVID siya from her parents kasi nga hindi naman siya lumalabas, di ba? Dr. Yul Bickham was the coroner in this case. Tapos sobrang distressed niya about it to the point na sa isang TV interview parang napaluha siya while telling the story. Siya yung nagsasalita dun sa video sa umpisa.
I've been a physician over 30 years, been a coroner since the 90s. I've dealt with every type of death there is. This was the most gruesome, unnatural death that I've seen. And it has affected me.
Sabi ni Dr. Bickham, meron daw mga signs na Lacey was trying to get out of the couch. Parang meron siyang mga, di ba, poop sa kamay niya and her arms. Ibig sabihin daw nung parang she was trying to lift herself up. Pero dahil sobrang weak niya, hindi niya yun magawa. Tapos sabi pa niya, sobrang sakit daw talaga nung mga wounds kasi they were very infected and ang dami niyang sugat. In one interview pa, parang tinanong siya, what are we not seeing from the pictures? Sabi niya, yung smell daw. And dun sa bahay, from the outside, pag tinignan mo, parang malinis siya. Yung grass dun sa front yard nila, hindi mahaba. Parang well-kept yung house from the outside. Pero sa loob, dun sa living room, ganun yung state na nandun si Lacey, na ganun yung amoy, ang daming mga insects, and sobrang dumi. Tapos, di ba, nagbakasyon yung mag-asawa for New Year's? Sabi ni Dr. Bickham, wala wala daw pagkain na iniwan for Lacey. Pagdating daw nila doon, ang nakita lang nila parang may candy malapit dun sa couch, but that was it. Wala daw silang nakita na parang plato na kinainan or anything. Sabi niya, hindi daw decomposition yung nangyari kay Lacey kasi buhay pa siya. She rotted. Nabulok daw siya habang buhay pa siya dun sa couch, and the worst of all is conscious siya. Alam niya kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanya and she felt the pain. Medyo matanda na si Dr. Beckham tapos yung career niya as a coroner mahaba na din. So for him to be this distressed about the case means as in grabe talaga yung nakita niya. In May 2022, the couple, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, were charged with second-degree murder and then they were arrested. Pero they posted bail and got out. Tapos, itong charge na to was dismissed because of a technicality, parang may paperwork issue. Pero na-charge sila ulit ng second-degree murder in June of 2023. Yung defense nila was a lot of BS, to be honest with you. Parang sabi nila, meron daw lock-in syndrome si Lacey. Tinignan ko kung ano yung lock-in syndrome. Parang ito daw yung complete paralysis of the body except for the eyes. So, pwede silang mag-blink and parang gumalaw-galaw, tumingin-tingin sa mga sides, but they cannot move any other parts of their body and their brain is fully conscious. Pero, this is disproved kasi diba may mga signs na Lacey was trying to get out of the couch. So, ibig sabihin, she has control of her upper body. Sobrang daming mga nakakagalit na bagay yung sinabi ng defense attorney nila. Una, parang sinabi niya, unless you lived it, you don't know what it's like. Na para bang excusable yung ginawa nila dahil nagkikare sila for a person with disability. Next, sinabi niya, Lacey was controlling the parents daw. Na parang si Lacey daw yung nagsasabi na she doesn't wanna do this, she doesn't wanna go to the doctor, she doesn't wanna go out.
She controlled them. She said, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to brush my teeth. I'm not going to comb my hair. I'm not even going to see a doctor on FaceTime.
Pero diba, at what point maggagawa ng desisyon yung actual na caregivers niya? Maybe siguro in the beginning, oo, si Lacey yung nagsasabi na ayaw niyang lumabas kasi nga meron siyang severe anxiety. Pero diba, kung ikaw yung matanda, ikaw yung parent, ikaw yung nakakaalam ng tama, diba dapat ikaw na yung mag-decide? Ang pinaka nagagalit pa ako, alam mo, nung sinabi niya na they were negligent, yes, but they loved their daughter to death. Na parang sabi niya, wala daw sila ever intent to harm their daughter kasi love na love daw nila si Lacey. Sabi niya, they never had a single intent to harm their daughter. Their lives revolved around their daughter. Anong sinasabi niya? Paano mag-revolve around their daughter yung lives nila kung hindi nga alam ng mga tao na mayroon silang anak? Tapos alam niyo pa, ang daming supporters ng mag-asawa from their community. Parang sinasabi nila hindi daw nabibigyan ng fair na chance yung mag-asawa. Pero pag tinatanong kung ano bang alam nila, parang paano nila i-defend yung nangyari sa mag-asawa, parang wala naman silang maibigay na exact na statement. Parang sinasabi lang nila na hindi ito yung Sheila and Clay na kilala nila. Well, obviously, hindi nila kilala kung ano yung totoong ugali ng mag-asawa kasi hindi nga nila alam na meron silang anak na mayroong discapacity. Grabe, alam nyo, gusto ko talagang masuka kapag iniisip ko bakit ang dami nilang sympathizers. Kung ako yun, na meron akong kapitbahay na ganun yung nangyari, na meron pala silang anak, imbes na mag-support ako sa kanila, parang medyo sisisihin ko pa yung sarili ko na bakit hindi ko alam, hindi ko man lang hinanap yung anak nila, bakit parang tinanggap ko na lang na wala yung anak nila, ganyan. In the end, walang nangyaring trial kasi Sheila and Clay pleaded no contest. No contest, ibig sabihin, parang they're accepting the punishment but they're not admitting that they're guilty. In exchange, the charges will be lowered to manslaughter instead of second-degree murder. Pero kahit na ganon, ang gusto pa rin ng prosecutors was masentence sila to 40 years na maximum. Para daw maging lesson na hindi mo pwedeng gawin to sa isang tao na dependent and merong disability. During the sentencing, merong bagong lumabas na information na parang noong 2010 daw, pumunta si Sheila and Clay sa doktor nila asking for help about Lacey. Pero hindi nila kasama si Lacey. Parang tinatanong lang nila sa doktor nila kung anong pwede nilang gawin kasi ayaw na nga lumabas ni Lacey. And parang nagde-deteriorate na talaga lalo yung mental health state niya. Tapos sabi sa kanila ng doktor, bumalik sila kasama si Lacey para ma-properly diagnose niya but never na sila bumalik. Tapos sabi din nila, parang if they can go back in time, they would do things differently. And then ang general consensus is that the two of them were just in over their heads. Na parang they just thought na parang they would be the best people to care for their daughter. That's why they didn't seek help. Why would you think no one can help you? 'Diba? Bakit hindi kayo pumunta sa doktor? Bakit hindi nyo inilabas ng bahay si Lacey? Matanda na sila eh. And obviously, may community sila, so madami silang pwedeng hingian ng tulong. Pero bakit itinago nila si Lacey? May resources sila dahil nga konsehal yung asawa niya. She had the resources and the means to look for help for her daughter, but she never did. So hindi ko talaga maintindihan yun. Na paano nangyari na may naniniwala na mahal nila si Lacey, kaya itinago nila and hindi nila dinala sa doktor. Anong klaseng magulang ba naman kayo? In the end, they were sentenced to 40 years pero medyo naguluhan ako dito kasi parang dinivide nila into parts. Parang 20 years in prison, 20 years suspended sentence plus 5-year probation. So, ibig sabihin pala nito, nung ni-research ko, 20 years yung immediately kailangan nilang iserve. Tapos nun, marirelease sila under probation for 5 years. Within that 5 years span ng probation nila, dapat maging mabuting mamamayan sila or else, kailangan nilang iserve yung 20 years nila na suspended sentence. But essentially, 20 years lang talaga yung kailangan nilang iserve for the death of Lacey. So that is the nakakagalit, nakakaiyak na story ni Lacey Fletcher. I want to go back a little bit dun sa sinabi nila na unless you lived it, you don't know what it's like. Na parang unless meron kang anak na may kapansanan, hindi mo maiintindihan. Kasi sobrang daming magulang ang nasa similar situation pero sila din nanggigigil dun sa ginawa nitong mag-asawa kay Lacey. So parang sobrang nakaka-insulto na mag-group together itong mga magulang na to kay Clay and kay Sheila. 'Di ba? Tapos sinabi pa nila they were just respecting her wishes. You're the caregiver. You're supposed to give care. Obviously, part of that care is making the necessary decisions for their own welfare. Lacey was obviously not healthy. She was not in any position to make the decisions for herself and bilang magulang, sila dapat yung gumawa nun. Pero alam nyo, naiisip ko din, bakit kaya tumawag pa sila sa 911? Kasi di ba wala namang nakakaalam na nandun si Lacey sa bahay nila? Na parang feeling ko, kung hindi nila ni-report na namatay si Lacey, walang makakaalam talaga. So bakit? Do they draw the line on her death? Na parang okay lang na maltratuhin nila si Lacey, pero kung namatay na siya, parang, nope, that's our limit. Diba? Ako lang ba nag-isip nun? Ang sama ko ba? Parang ang sama ng ugali ko para maisip yun. But anyway, thank you guys for watching our first Merienda Files video. Expect more of these videos kasi parang nagustuhan ko yung gantong format and I think I'm gonna be making more of it. And as always, if you have any cases that you would like me to cover either in our long videos or in Merienda Files, please let me know and I will do my best to try to research them. And yeah, that's all. Thanks again for watching and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye! Pagdating ng mga Pagdating ng mga first responders, nakita nila si Lacey, wala naman silang maibigay na exact na statement.